Welcome to the Scene Snobs Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Scene Snobs Podcast. I'm your host, Mick Manhattan, and it is Friday night at 8 p.m. Well, sort of. I was having a good conversation with my good buddy and my co-host for this evening, Sir Sturdy, so we kind of got into it, and I realized we're a little late. But I want to say I appreciate you guys showing up, being here, a part of it, hanging out with us, talking some movies, just having a good time. We're going to get into it tonight with the 80s horror. So you guys know, Snobtober starts this September. We're going to be doing horror movies for the next 2 months on our classic film reviews, over on our Does It Suck episodes, on our top fives, things like that. We're having a really good time with it. Those movies were all supplied and curated by Sir Sturdy himself, and he will be joining us right after we finish our first review, and our only review for tonight. That's right, Splitsville. We are reviewing this one tonight. This one stars the wonderful, actually, I don't always think she's wonderful, but she was pretty good in this, and I'll give it to her, and that is, what's her name? Dakota Johnson, Madam Web herself. Jonah is in this movie, Michael Angelo Covino, and Kyle Marvin. These are the four that are starring, are the main stars of this. This is the tale of two couples who are going through a lot of turmoil in the moment. One of them is in an open relationship. The other one is just getting divorced. And when one of them sleeps with the other one's wife, it goes into complete and utter chaos. Now, I did not know what to expect of this movie. I wasn't really that excited to watch it. The trailer did not do anything for me. It didn't pique my interest at all. But I'm glad I did watch it. You know, I'm going to be doing a lot of movie reviews over the next couple of days, so you'll be seeing some. So make sure to check out our channel, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But I am super stoked about watching this one. This was a pretty good one. It's a really good character study. There's a lot of character development in it. It's quirky. It's weird. Michael Angelo Covino directed it, and he's also one of the stars. And he and Kyle Marvin, who's the other star of the movie, were in a movie called The Climb, where they played best friends and bicyclists out, kind of going out, learning about each other, learning about their friendship, all while cycling. Well, this movie sees the different type of how friendship goes when it's put the strain of sort of cheating and things like that. They did a great job. There's a great fight scene in this between the two of them. It's very comedic, very funny, very well edited in times. The editing in this is truly fantastic. It's very subtle, but it helps push the story along. I really enjoyed that. The comedy is light. I'm not a big Dakota Johnson fan in terms of her acting. I like her and her interviews and such, and she seems like a nice, pleasant person. But this might be my favorite movie she's in so far that I've seen her. She was fantastic in this. She seemed more lively. Like it was really well directed, and it seemed like there was a really good chemistry between all four of them. And I just had a fun time with it. I might check this one out again. It's a dramedy, so going into it, you're going to get some heartbreaking things, but you're going to get some really fun, loving things too. I'm actually interested to. I haven't checked out The Climb, which I want to go check out now that I've seen this. But this was an interesting one that I really liked. I gave it a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 mics. I thought it was just one of those movies that sort of comes out. It's one of those indie darlings that when you see it, I think you really latch onto it and you enjoy it for what it is. It doesn't have the most cohesive resolution to it. There's a lot of quirkiness to it. They seem to be going for a happy ending where it seems like there isn't room for one, but it works. I thought it works pretty well. So I would love to hear what you guys think if you're going to check it out. Sound off and let me know. It's out in theaters now. Go check it out. I'm Mick Manhattan with the Scene Snobs, the Scene Snobs Reviews. We do these on the episode, but we also have other reviews that go on as well. So if you don't see them on the podcast, make sure to check back for them. Right now out, we have our Relay review. You can go check that out. Very good movie. Americana, another one. It is a movie. We also have Thursday Murder Club coming out very soon too, which is a brand new one. The Roses, Caught Stealing, Toxic Avenger, which I cannot wait to see. I'm seeing this tomorrow. American Sweatshop, which will be out soon. Honey Don't, and of course Splitsville is out now. So I just want to say thank you for watching this review. We're going to go get started on the show. But go check out Splitsville. I think if you're looking for something that is, like I said, is quirky, it's fun, oddball comedy, but with a lot of character study in it, and it's really character driven. This whole movie, and I like that. I like when you get good acting, good directing, and is definitely here for it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about it if you do get. Before we get started, I want to talk about our sponsor, Lustruin. They make beautiful shades, blinds, whatever you're looking for. They have bamboo, the whole 9 yards. So if you are looking for any curtains, shades, any fabrics that will make your windows look beautiful, go check out West Ruin. I'm going to post our link right here in the comments. Make sure to check that out. Or it's down below. You can check it out there. You get 20% off with our link. Go check them out and let us know what you think. Tell them Scene Snobs sent you. But I want to bring my good buddy in, my co-host for this evening, Mr. Sir Sturdy. Welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm chilling. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I've been kind of all over the place. Been watching a lot of movies lately, and it's been pretty interesting so far. So you guys have been keeping me going on Popcorn and Pints, but it's been a wild ride with those movies. So oh my god, dude, we've been watching a lot of movies lately.
Yeah, especially this weekend's movies, and I haven't even watched the second one yet. I watched Class so far, but this weekend's movies I feel like are going to be so different. But so there's gonna be some similarities, but they're gonna be so different at the same time.
For the last 2 weeks, for anybody who's not, and I think we're gonna continue on. It seems like that was like sort of like what we were going towards, but I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. We've been doing the Brat Pack wheel. And the week before we had Young Guns and what was the other movie? I'm getting so jumbled and lost in everything that we need to do. It was Oxford Blues, one I never heard of before, Rob Lowe, which was an odd one. And then this week we get Class, which I never heard of before, Rob Lowe from 1983, and 16 Candles.
Oxford Blues and Young Guns was 2 weeks ago. So here's the funny thing: is we hit the Brat Pack wheel 2 times in a row. So last week we spun the one wheel that decides what wheel we spin, and the Wheel of Destiny. By the way, everybody was just like, "Yo, instead let's just finish the Brat Pack wheel." So we got Class and 16 Candles for this week, and then I think we have like 4 left, so 2 more weeks of the Brat Pack. If you guys wanted to just say screw it and finish it off,
I say we do, because we need to. Then we can make more room for other wheels and such, you know. So,
yeah.
I mean, I really want to see everybody's reation to St. Elmo's Fire. And that's my biggest thing.
That's gonna. It's gonna be in one of the next 2 weeks.
I think you're gonna hate, just like me. The song's great. Song's been around a long time. That movie is.
Is it a musical?
Oh, you better believe it.
Oh,
no, it's not. No, it is not a musical. I promise you, it's not. It's a very mopey drama about friends in college learning to live with each other while he's sleeping with his wife. He wants to sleep with her, but she's broke, and he's chasing this woman down that he met once, and it's awkward and weird. Like he follows this woman while she goes on a ski trip, and he's only met her once, but he swears he's in love. Like, the whole thing is odd. And it ends on a weird, odd note. So I am super stoked to see what everybody thinks about it.
Oh, man.
That's the 80s for you, though, man. I'm not hating on them, but I think we
what it is? I don't even want to say we give too much credit to the 80s, because we don't. Because the 80s was just a wild, weird, great time as far as looking back for film for me, because I was born in 85. So as far as the 80s goes, I had a few years in it, but I mean, I was just learning how to like walk and get out of my diapers and shit. So I wasn't really that productive in the 80s. Mick, on the other hand, he was 6'8" and 14 years old. So he
no, I was not. I was far from 14 years old in the 80s. I was born in the 80s, and I was a child. No, my here's the thing. In the 80s, when you were in them, everything seemed exciting. There was something new. I think cartoons is what messed us up, because you ready to take this wild ride before the top? I think cartoons messed us up because we hadn't, like, they're not that cartoons didn't exist, but look at the cartoons that did exist before the 80s. They were not the same. They were very few and far between. Star Wars, of course, ushered in a whole new idea of having action figures and things like that. So I think the stories, the TV cartoons led to the toys, which led to us just falling in love with all things 80s ultimately. Mm-hmm. And when we look back at the 80s, I think we remember it with a nostalgic fondness that I don't know is always warranted.
Why not, though?
I think there's a lot of fluff stuff. I think it was oversaturated. And now, I'm not saying there isn't great stuff. Don't get me wrong. There is great stuff. I do not think there's a masterpiece outside of maybe like Raging Bull and Do the Right Thing and maybe a handful of other certain movies. I'd really have to go over the list again. But like, my favorite movie is Back to the Future, right? Mm-hmm. RoboCop's on my top 10. Raiders is up there. There's some truly, well, Raiders might be a masterpiece. There's some truly, I know you hate, but there you go. That proves my point.
But I mean, again, it goes back to the argument we had a few weeks ago about it's just everybody's opinions on film. At the end of the day, you either love it or you don't, or you like it, whatever the case may be. And nobody's wrong with how they feel about a movie. To that person, it could be the best movie in the world. And I can disagree, but I can't really argue with how that person feels about that movie.
You know, I can argue with you about Raiders.
Because I look at it too as like, especially people who like really love and really enjoy movies. Not people who like are movie fans, but you go to the movies, you watch movies, but you're not really deep into it, like how we are, for example. To where it's like there's certain movies that just give you a feeling. I'm like, I can't say, what I mean? Like, say you watch this one movie, it just makes you feel great. And it could be whatever movie it is. For me, it's The Lion King. I love that movie. It makes me feel great. Watch it, whatever the case may be. Or White Fang, another one. And I'm just like...
Nothing in the 80s.
Well, I could say Friday the 13th, the whole franchise. But
it's filmed in 79. That's okay.
Not every single one of them.
No, definitely not every single one of them.
So you can say it for the first one, but you can't say it for the rest.
I would say if you look at every movie in the Friday the 13th saga that came out the year it did is a perfect representation of the year it came out.
That's fair.
The only one I could say is you can get away with the first one is that it seems very 70s in style. Yeah. But that makes sense. It was 79. So but the early 80s was very much like that too. Mm-hmm. They had that it didn't really start getting too flashy until you got to like 84, 85. And then I was going to say,
when I know things change between the decades and stuff, but it still takes like a couple years for it to make that full change with everything, visually and everything, to where the whole, I guess you would say, culture changes, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it does. And I've said this for a long time. Like, I think movies just as much as music, even for a certain time, maybe like since the 60s or so, but like I can make arguments for earlier too. Movies dictated a lot of what we go for in terms of style, in terms of pop culture. I don't think it's so much music and TV. I think those are hits, a part of the pop culture, the zeitgeist. But I think the visual medium of movies and the movie stars that seem to get worshipped at all times, especially in the 80s, which is such a big thing, I think that led to us. I think that led to a lot of the 80s changing midway, like becoming that more like, we need flashy, we need stuff that's really going to grab them. And like, because you look at Stranger Things, right? Mm-hmm. Stranger Things, that first season is a very good representation of the early 80s. There's nothing really too flashy in it in terms of pop culture, things like that. They talk about some stuff, but then you get to the second season, that's when I realized the turn on that show and a good representation of the 80s. They were Ghostbusters by the second season. By the third season, they're in the mall. Yeah. And everything is like flashy and pretty. So I'm like, yeah, it's kind of how the 80s were. And I think it was dictated by what we were seeing in movies. Who was the new, more popular? Beforehand, you see the young guys in the early 80s, and the young ladies in the early 80s, like the Sean Penns from Fast Times, things like that, like these certain styles that we adopted. And then when you get to Ghostbusters and you get to all of these, like, there's so much different tone to movies. They're wild, they become more fantastical. And then we just kept going from there. Not that they didn't exist before, but it really seemed like the 80s was like where there was so much change all at once. Yeah,
I agree with that, and I feel like at the 80s was a time where I'm not saying there was no other decade where they were doing this, but the 80s, they were really just throwing everything at the wall, like everything, and a lot of stuff was sticking. Should it have stuck? Probably not, but it did.
Well, that's going to be our main topic tonight. We're going to talk about 80s horror and how I don't have the same affinity for it that a lot of people do. And I don't know that I ever did. But before we get there, I want to kick things off the right. And that's with our top 5 countdown. Worst 80s horror movies on our lists. Sir, I'm excited to hear yours. You are the king of horror here. So what is your number 5?
So I just honestly, I went back. I just looked over episodes that I reviewed and kind of see what my ratings were and just went with that. It was just easier. So I have The Unholy from 1988. I don't remember what I gave it on my show, but I know I wasn't a fan.
All right. The Unholy's a good pick. This one might piss you off a little bit. My number 5 is Maximum Overdrive. I like it. It's a cheesy movie, but it just There's so many issues with that movie.
That doesn't bother me though. That one, nah.
It does sort of prove my point, though, that so many people love that and can't understand why somebody would have it on their word list. Even Stephen King hates it. So, but
it's one of those things to where you're separating your passion for the movie for how good the movie actually is. You know what I mean? Because I think what it is people they can't admit, like, I love Thanksgiving. I know Thanksgiving is a terrible movie, but I fucking love them.
You do,
but it's a terrible movie. It's not a good movie. It's not something where someone's like, "Oh, listen, Sturdy, I want to really get into horror. I want you to put me on something that's a really good film." I'll probably throw The Conjuring out there.
Okay, that's fair.
But depending on the person, of course. But as far as, like, you know what I mean, like, I wouldn't throw that.
What 80s horror movie, not Friday the 13th, or none of like the main icon? If somebody was like, "Hey, can you give me a good 80s horror movie to watch?" I think this would be good because we're throwing out all the bad ones. We'll make you
Nightmare on Elm Street, the OG of Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, I think it's a good horror.
I said no icons, but I guess you just hate Freddy.
Oh, you did say that. You're an icon, I guess. I'll give you some. Give me a minute.
Is it the shunting in society?
Nah, that's too crazy for people.
You'd watch that ever?
Oh, I would watch it a lot, but that's me. I'm talking about if I'm trying to get someone to watch like a horror movie from the 80s. I don't think I want to kick off with that.
I'd say The Fog, personally. I think it's a great movie.
Where did
While you're thinking of that, what's your number 4 worst movie?
My number 4 is Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
That almost went on my list. But I felt like Maximum Overdrive is a little worse. It's just so bad. My number 4 is Rock and Roll Nightmare. I did script reading for this. Not me. I didn't do it for my show. I was on a game show called Scripts Gone Wild, and they did this movie. And it's like where everybody drinks while they read a script, and it was a wild. What is your number 3, sir?
Cannibal Holocaust.
Oof, that's a tough one. That is a tough one for sure.
Like, and it was more so, I understand it's different culture and all that, but I'm just like, and not even like this shouldn't happen in film. It was more so it just wasn't for me. It really wasn't for me.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's for anybody personally. And I'm not saying people can't watch them. I'm not saying it can't exist. Like, I give a lot of benefit of doubt to movies where I'm like, especially foreign films. But this wasn't. It wasn't a foreign film. Like, this was filmmakers who knew what they were trying to get done and show. And to me, that was a little cheap. It wasn't like, although it was interesting first timing. I suppose I hated it though. So my number 3 is Hobgoblins. Oh, that movie is rough. That is rough. I saw that in theaters too. Not at the time. I saw it like only a few years, like 10 years ago in theaters. I don't know why.
All right, for an 80s, for a good 8, would you count Ghostbusters as horror or not really?
Yeah, I would call it a horror comedy.
I'll say Ghostbusters.
Oh, for watching good movies. Okay, that's
good.
No,
that's not on my list. That's for Galvin.
I was going to be like, please don't.
I should have fucked with you with that one.
I don't think you should have.
Let you have a nice little rant. Like, yo, Mick, you weren't listening. I said. Like, you motherfucker. No, Trick or Treat from 1980.
Was that the one with Ozzy and Gene Simmons and Skippy from Family Ties? Where the demon, the rock and roll singer comes back as a demon?
I'm going to be honest with you. I watched it a couple of years ago, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, but it was bad.
It's a weird movie. You ain't wrong. All right, what's your number 2?
That was my number 2. Cannibal Holocaust is my number 3.
Oh, that's right. My number 2 is Madman. This movie is terrible. Every scene in this movie feels like it's a porno that's about to kick off, but it ends before anything kicks off. Like, you flip to the next scene before it kicks off. It's such a terrible movie.
We don't need that.
And what is your number 1? I think we both. Blood Lake for me too.
There's honestly, as much anybody who watches my show, anybody who's seen me on any damn show pretty much by now, heard Blood Lake on an episode and I'm on there, I'm not saying anything good about it besides the Firebird. And that movie is the reason why my ratings on every show that I'm on is go -10 to +10. If they let me do that. If it's this show, I'll go to 1 through 5 because they do it here. But in my heart, it's negative if it needs to be.
I don't blame you on that. I mean, I don't know about the negative. Like, I would give this a half star on mine. Maybe a 1, just because I respect the fact that these kids went out with a camera.
And like I said, it's like a school project. You failed. You don't get credit when you do a school project. You get the whole project. You get every single answer wrong. You don't get credit for doing the work. It's like, this is wrong.
We didn't get credit for doing the work. I think they do that now.
Which I was just gonna say, go thinking about it, like, you should still get, even though you have that failing score, you should still get credit for doing the work, which should count for something. It's like, no, you failed. Like, well, I still did it. Like, I at least tried. Shit.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
So that's how I feel about Blood Lake.
Blood Lake is a problem, but I don't think it fails. I think it's.
But I want to own the rights. I'm gonna keep putting.
You do. You absolutely want to own the rights. And
as weird as that is, as much as I hate that movie, I feel like I deserve the rights.
I feel like if anybody's seen that movie in the last 10 years, they owe it to you. Or at least the last 7 or 8.
I'll say 5 to 6 years. I'll say 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years. My show's been going on for almost 8 years, but no, 9 years.
It annoys me how much you try to get people to watch them.
It's what you know what it is. It's just I just feel with movies, with good and bad, they deserve to be watched. I'll say that. As much as I hate that movie, it deserves to be watched because, like you said, you give them the credit it was created. So it deserves to be watched for one. It doesn't deserve to be liked. It deserves whatever feeling you get from it. If you like it, I don't know, get your eyes and ears checked. No, seriously, if you like it, that's on you. Cool. If you don't, even better.
I love it. No, you're right though.
It's because it's unfair to just watch just the good films. Because how do you find good films without watching everything or without watching whatever you can watch and get your hands? I know I'm saying Blood Lake is a bad film, but at the same time, there's a lot of movies that I enjoy or that I love that people can say are suck or terrible, this, that, and the third. And the only way they're gonna find that out is by checking it out. Hey, you might love Blood Lake. I doubt it, but you might actually love that movie because you may have one of those weird reasons to where, like, I mean, Thanksgiving is at least funny for me, but you may have something like weird or quirky for Blood Lake that you enjoy, that you can point out that you enjoy. And if you could, kudos. That's dope. I couldn't do that.
There's, well, I want to say thanks for watching our top 5. You're watching as a clip, but I appreciate you guys watching and listening. And that's a good point. Blood Lake is, I say, up to you, up to the viewer. You want to watch the movie, fine. If you ask me or you're watching one of my reviews, I might say you might want to skip this one, but it's there if you want it.
See, and for me, I always say for like movies that I don't like at all, say watch at your own risk. I don't ever want to tell people not to watch a movie because, again, they may enjoy it. And someone did it. Even though I hate Blood Lake, someone did spend time making it. Even though I give that movie 0 credit, someone did make it. And
it's hard to make a movie. Especially hard to make a movie with jet skis. And that movie certainly does have jet skis.
And quarters.
Oh my God, they do play quarters in that game.
There's a nice black Firebird.
Remember when they showed up with a half full bag of groceries but made dinner for like 4 nights?
Well, no, because no. Remember, the fridge was full.
Oh yeah, because for some reason the killer's living there.
It was I forgot what the whole beat was with that. It was just
never explained anything.
It was bad.
That movie is perfect example.
I'll say this too. We did do a script read of Blood Lake over here on the Scene Snobs. If you guys want to go and check that out. And just watch Master Shake and how mad he gets with that script. Oh my God, that was funny.
He got mad because he's like, you couldn't give me a real script. And I'm like, they don't have one. I had to watch the movie and copy it down. I put a lot of work into that script.
He was so mad. You know what you got to do one day if you still have that script? Is start the chat GPT to say, could you fix this?
I don't think I have it anymore, but man, yeah, I had to go in. I didn't write it in format because I just trying to get it done as quick as possible. But I watched the movie and I would like fill in all the dialogue and try and put as best to action as I could. It was fun though. It was a fun night. That was an experiment for sure. Oh man! But that's indicative of the '80s. It is what it is. No, people love the '80s. They love horror movies, especially from the 80s. Every time somebody talks about it, all the best horror movies are from the 80s. What do you think about that state, which we know we've heard?
I mean, I love the 80s myself. I'm not going to lie to you. And I think a credit for myself and maybe people like around our age, why people give credit to the 80s so much is because a lot of it, even if you weren't necessarily old enough to watch the movies in the 80s, say if it was more so like the 90s, like myself, because I was born in 85, like I said earlier, but a lot of those movies made you a fan of film in general, but that specific genre. So I feel like that really, really pulls, which I feel like is important, like an important part of the nostalgia of it, an important part of being a film fan is you have something or a reason why you really love these movies and you grab these movies. And I mean, if you look at it, you watch those movies back in the day, you watch them over and over and over. You grow up, you still watch them over and over and over. You go to cons, we're still watching these same movies from the 80s. So it says something. Yeah. It says something, even if they're not necessarily, and I'm not even talking about fucking Rotten Tomatoes and all that bullshit, because fuck them. But as far as like, I'll say other movie reviewers, other podcasters, critics like that, you know, that I know really sit down and watch the movies, but then aren't getting paid for this shit that I can trust their opinions of. I don't know what Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know. But I'm just saying, just in general.
I get it.
I trust, like, I would trust your opinion more so than like a Rotten Tomatoes or any of those other type of things. Or like, I would trust people on Letterboxd. I know it's like somebody sitting down, a fan of movies, watching the freaking movie.
Okay, well, let me ask you this as a movie reviewer, and we've talked about it quite a bit, and it's kind of a little off topic, but I don't care. It's my show. I'll do whatever. What do you think in terms of the culture of movie critics today? I call them movie reviewers. I don't think they're film critics. I think film critics come with a certain level of an understanding of the industry, understanding of filmmaking, and I'm not saying you can't, as a film viewer, you can't. I'm not saying you can't have that knowledge. You can for sure, and some do, but I would say the wide array of people who review movies today, especially on like a YouTube or things like that, it's not that background. Is maybe to aspire to that knowledge, aspire to that background, aspire to something, but I would say a lot of it comes from a film fan lens than a critique. And I think that's where, like, because I get people who are like, well, why do you like this movie but you gave it a poor rating? I'm like, I can like a movie on a personal level and still look at it and be like, this is objectively not a very good movie. It has a lot of issues. I mean, Back to the Future, like, is probably it's a beloved, adored movie. It has its issues and plot points and things like that. There are things to question. There's entire and I love when I talk to people, and I use this one as an example because it is my favorite and I know a lot about it, but I've talked to people who have been like, what are the problems with it? Blah, 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 this. And I'm like, how do you not see them? Like, there are documentaries made about the plot holes in them. There's entire articles written about like things that shouldn't work in that movie. Does that negate that it's a good movie? No, I think suspension of disbelief, something that we've sort of lost over time as film fans, because we're too critiquing now of newer movies, because I feel like after 9/11, our idea of realism in movies became stronger. We wanted to see things that were more real. Take The Dark Knight as an example. Like, we wanted Batman in a real setting, and we flocked to it. But now I feel like we're going back, we're yammering to the days of the 80s where it's like, we can let this one go. You know, we can let that go. We can let that little thing go. We can let The Never-Ending Story, one of the worst movies ever made.
Untrue.
I don't personally like that movie, but I do understand why people do. But
I haven't seen it in years. I can't wait to see it again. But
I will not watch that movie. That's
it's on
retired.
the punishment wheel.
I hope we don't get that. If nobody shows up, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be so mad. One day, and we get that movie. I do not want to watch that. In fact, the weird part about the 80s is where I don't think the movies in abundance are that great. They did produce great memorable films.
And I mean, a lot of them are the ones that a lot of people gravitate to or grab onto. I mean, there's also the cult classics, this, that, and the third. But for the most part, there's that big cluster of 80s film from every genre that people just love.
But going back to the critic side of it, though, like, yes, there's cult classics, but that's what we live in today, where we have these movie reviewers saying this is the pinnacle of filmmaking, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, you haven't even seen The Godfather, but no, but it's not an opinion.
No. I was gonna say, but that's people that'll watch just certain films. Maybe they'll watch the quote unquote popular films of this time. They don't go back further. They don't dig in the crates further, like someone like you or I will, where we'll watch literally anything from any era of film and kind of, discuss it or whatever, or just watch it, whatever the case may be. I think a lot of times people are afraid to go back, but I think it's an age thing for some, not all, because there's people that are younger than us that weren't born in the 80s and 90s. Or early 90s that have no issue watching those films because you grew up on the way that they looked in the 80s and 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus kids born, say, in the early to late 2000s. By then, they're on DVDs.
A lot of them didn't even make the cut.
Yeah, that's way better than VHS.
Listen, no, actually, like, I don't understand.
Not to me. I mean, as far as visually. So they may not go back and watch. I'm not saying at all kids, but there's a lot that will.
I don't even think it's a visual aspect of it. I think it's a nostalgic aspect. I think people are too tied into the nostalgia and wanting to remember. Like VHS, how many people do we talk to who are like, VHS, where's that? There are companies putting out new movies on a VHS for fans. And it's like, what are you doing? I loved VHS growing up because I got to watch kick-ass movies. And you're right. When DVD came in and then Blu-ray and so on, like it became better. Like the picture quality we were buying all these brand new TVs and still watching shit on VHS. Like if you have a VHS collection, you have VCR and you want to pop it in. But I legitimately see and hear things on podcasts and videos where these film fans are reviewing something and it's like, oh, it's not nothing. It's like the days of VHS, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, do you not remember?
You got to also think of it like this. A lot of the people that are saying it are again, they're around our age group. So back then they were kids, so they're remembering just a happier time. So maybe it's more so of not necessarily. Yes, watching the movies because they're talking about movies and they love film. So it's like going back to the VHS times. Not necessarily the visuals of the VHS, but the feeling, like the feeling it gives them, the feeling of just sitting down with your friends or whoever you watch the film with. Because I feel like nowadays we don't do it as much as we can't. It's just tougher. A lot of our friends that we used to watch movies with are live in different places, like literally live in different states, different times. And even if you live in the same state, same city, it's like, hey, I fucking have 3-4 kids. I can't sit down and hang out and watch this movie now. So it's like you kind of hold on to that nostalgia. Same with gaming. Like I miss gaming. I miss gaming in the same room with the people that I like gaming with.
Yeah, no, and I get that.
Same with movies.
I'm talking about from like now. If you put on, I have VHS. I'm not saying you can't put it on. I will put it on. I have some VHSs that I love to watch. I have old home movies I'll put on. I think owning a VCR is important. Especially for people our age and older. We know people who love movies who do have VHS left. And I understand wanting to, it's almost like putting on a vinyl record. You want that sound from it. You want that look of it. You want to feel like you said. But when does it, especially when you're coming out and you're like, I'm a film reviewer and I do this and I have my own channel and I talk about movies. And when does it become questionable to say, VHS was the best, nothing tops it, and like that's why I only watch that or I only collect that? It's like, what are you talking about? I was like, first of all, movies in general are shot to not be on VHS anymore. They're not 4x3 anymore. They're not. It's not that all VHS are we have, but it's, to me, it's like if you enjoy it and it's a personal thing. But I think the indignancy of like, but it's the best. It's still the best, and it's like, what are you fucking talking about? No, it's not.
I think what it is. It's a personal thing for a lot of people, but it's also like that kind of trying to think how to word this. I guess quote unquote underground, but really popular kind of thing with film fans. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think it's more so that. And then as far as shows go, people are just having conversations and just whatever their show's wrapped around. I guess I really don't know.
I'm going to start a fight, I'm sure, and saying that I think it's because some people can't grow up past what they loved in the 80s. Yes, and maybe I'll latch on something, but every time I hear about it, it's something childlike. It's something immature, which is fine, mind you. I'm not judging what people do personally.
You should still
when you start a channel or a podcast and you're like, I'm a movie reviewer and this is what we do and we're going to review these movies. Now, having fun discussing movies, discussing movie theaters, things like that. But I'm talking about the ones who are critiquing and coming off with complete biases, like, oh, this movie sucked because it's nothing like the 80s movies I used to watch. They're out there. They're out there. Again, I'm not. Some of you, if you're looking at yourselves, or as you listen to this or you watch this, and you're saying, "Is he talking about me?" I probably am because you probably do it. But the ones who know they don't do it, the ones who know they don't do it, aren't saying that. And I think that's where it comes, like, you're never going to give a fair chance to. And like, I have to give a fair chance to movies when I review. I can't walk into it. Like I said, when I saw the trailer for that movie Splitsville I reviewed earlier, I was like, this trailer doesn't grab me. But I still watched it because I knew that I have to see the movie to make the judgment.
Do you think some people lie about their ratings? Hear me out, because they are like, we're 80s baby, we're 80s fans of things, but they're diehard 80s fans. But are they afraid to admit on their shows, on their lives, to say their show is I love the 80s or whatever, but I'm still going to review whatever the case is. They review a bunch of movies like we do, but again, their thing is like, I'm an 80s movies, blah, 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 blah. But do you think their thing is also, as far as when they're doing their reviews for like a newer film outside of the 80s, is it more so like, oh, this movie sucks or blah, 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 because it's not in the 80s? In the back of their mind or in their hearts or wherever that rating comes from, is it really like a 10 or an 8, but they're saying it's a 2 or a 3 on their show because it's not the 80s?
I know lots of people. I'm not saying everybody. Right? Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody. Do you think a few people do that on their show?
Yeah, 100%. I know they do it for a fact. I've been on shows with people where they've rated something on the show, then got off and talked about how much they liked it, but they didn't think the rating would have, like, they didn't want to rate it higher because they didn't want to look stupid. And I'm like,
that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It makes sense because like these are people who are trying to get maybe interviews or maybe screeners and they don't want to trash things. or they want to trash things that they got denied for a screener, or they got denied for this, that, I've seen that too. Now that's a whole different story. There are some people who I've seen give a rating because they try to be nicer, and I'm like, you need to be objective. Like film is subjective for people. When you watch it, it's a personal feeling for sure. But when you're reviewing, you have to have an objectivity. And my objectivity, now you have to have a personal connection to it too. But like when I do it, I have a checklist on how I do it. And it's actually pretty funny. My checklist is 1 out of 10, whereas I rate 1 out of 5. My checklist is 1 out of 10. And I go through cinematography, sound, direction, acting, character development, story development, plot points, I'm trying to cover editing, like I'm trying to cover the technical, and then impact and nostalgia are going to be there. And then after all of that, how did it make me feel personally? So once I grade all of that and wherever they're at, then I take it all, get the average, and then I average it into 1 out of 5. But that's why how I come up with my ratings and such for doing it. Because if I'm not picking it apart, and a good example, again, going back to Back to the Future, my favorite movie of all time, I'll watch it anytime it's on. I never get tired of it. I do not think it's a bad movie. But if you ask me to rate it and really think about it, it's probably an 8 out of 10.
But what's your rating for it?
Personally, it's a 10 out of 10. It's my number one movie of all time. So, but and that's to me. But now when I'm reviewing, I can tell you how I feel, but I'm also taking my professional experience as a reviewer. I'm not even talking about my filmmaking background and all the other film shit. Like I'm taking as a professional reviewer, I'm taking that, and I'm making sure that, like, because I'm talking to people and I am rating it for them to maybe go see, I have to be honest with it. For me to walk in and be like, Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time, it's 10 out of 10. I feel like that's too much bias. Why would you trust me? Why would you come back to that?
I mean, at the same time, though, if it's like, this is the way it made me feel, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I guess you could almost give it 2 ratings. And like, I guess as a movie, it's 8 out of 10. But for me, it's a 10.
Well, I said 10 out of 10 when you asked me what it is for me personally. I don't really rate my personal favorites because for me, it's like, I love that movie. Yeah. And that's why I say, I make sure it's like even with Never Ending Story, I don't like this movie. But based on my ratings and everything that, like, it's up there. It's a high movie. On an 80s list, it'd be really high. On a regular list, it might be like a 7. I do not think it holds up outside of nostalgia more than as much as other people do. But I still have to be objective. I'm talking to people who I know are probably going to like this movie for the very reasons that I realize that it's good. Mm-hmm. I just did not have a personal connection to. So therefore, and I do think there's stupid things in that movie that get overlooked constantly. But
is it because you and that flying thing are like the same height and you're too tall to ride it?
I want him to be my dog, and he was like, no, I like the other kid more, and then he kicked me off. I fell and I got hurt.
That's the beef. I knew it was something.
I don't know why I never connected to that movie. I did watch it as a kid. I've seen it enough. It never stuck or resonated with me.
I get it.
I mean, the bullying part did, but then I was like, but I'm not going to meet any little prince or whatever who's going to save the day. That whole movie was just, it was an interesting tale. I like the song. The song's good. I do enjoy that. So
that's fair. That's fair. You like something from it at least.
All right. Would you say the 80s has the most best movies that have come out?
I'll have to do more. I'd have to do some research on it.
That's fair. I think most would probably say that's the case, but for me, I think the 70s and the 90s were two very good moments.
70s and 90s?
I think the 80s was a product of both of those.
Wouldn't the 90s be a product of the 80s?
I think the 70s was partially a product of the fluff movies that came out in the 60s, which there was a lot of them. There were some great movies in the 60s, definitely way more masterpieces films in the 60s than in the 80s, but there was a lot of fluff there too, right? A lot of like just those movies that just like were maddening sometimes. And that ushered in the 70s being a darker, I mean, there was a lot of it. It's also a part of what's going on societally and things like that. But I think the new age directors that are all coming in the independent circuit and putting out these movies that are just blowing people away. I think that was a product of the 60s and directly led to the 80s. People were like, we want more upbeat. We want more positivity, things like that, which is always fine. And again, it created a lot of fun stuff in the 80s, but that's what it created, a lot of fun stuff. And then the 90s was sort of a consequence of that. More indie filmmakers were like, I don't like the 80s. I want the 70s again. So let's make our own stuff. And then we get the 2000s.
Interesting. Yeah.
I do believe that we are in the midst of another indie movement.
I hope so.
we're in the beginning of another indie movement that started after the challenges of 2020, especially with like no movies coming out. And then, we saw like more indies kind of coming and more indie filmmakers making stuff. And then the strike happened.
Yeah.
I think that was another one. I think right now we're on a downturn still, but I think when we're on downturns, it creates more creativity in the industry.
Because it has to.
Yeah, I think we're in the beginning of that now.
It has to. Like, you can't just come out with the same shit you came out with for the past 5 to 10 years. You have to start doing new stories. Give us some fresh stuff. We want that, especially in horror. Do I enjoy remakes? I do, but I still want to see fresh, new stories, really good stories.
So we both agree then that the 80s was the worst tech.
No.
Okay. Fair. Almost edge. Well, that I think that kind of wraps up our talk a little bit, but we're going to get into our final segments for the night. Are you excited? Because I got one, and I did this one for you because you're the one that supplied these movies. It's time for Sturdy's movie picks.
Ooh.
Our Does It Suck and our Snobs Film History Classic Film Review. These movies have been chosen by Sir Sturdy himself. And of course, all of our picks end up being our Does It Suck for the week and our Classic Film History Review. Now, Sturdy, before I get into these movies, do you have any personal connection to them when you chose them? Or are these two that you were interested in maybe checking out?
Honestly, none of that. You just asked me if I could find these films for you. You gave me the parameters I needed to do, which I went with the classic film reviews. You wanted to be 95 and behind and back. So I was just like, I'm just going to do that for both. And and then you were telling me what you wanted for the IMDb ratings. So I went with that for both for the most part. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to mess with Mick this time. He's asking me to look for movies for him to review on his show because I'm the reason why he reviewed Blood Lake on one of his shows.
Yeah, I thank God you didn't do that on this one.
I'm also the reason why we did the script read of Blood Lake because he watched Blood.
You keep throwing me. You keep throwing me for a real loop there. No, you didn't. Actually, every movie you've given me, because there was a lot I hadn't seen on there. And so the parameters of this, all of our classic film reviews for the next 2 months for Snobtober in September, October, and our Does It Suck episodes and our top fives are all going to be built around horror movies. And with Sturdy's picks, there was like 9 I'd never seen before. Some I never even heard of before. One that was incredibly brutal. It was a good movie, but it was a hard movie, and that's coming up soon. So make sure you look out for that. That's on our Does It Suck page. This was like these movies right here, Ghost in the Machine from 1993 and Two Evil Eyes. I knew Ghost in the Machine. I had always known it. I feel like maybe I watched it on VHS back in the day, or like rented it and watched it, but I didn't remember it at all. I didn't remember who was in it. I didn't remember anything about it. So I'm not going to claim it. I claim this as a first time viewing. I'm just saying I may have, because there were elements in the movie where I was like, that looks familiar.
Yeah.
But I could have been like crossing it with Lawnmower Man. It was very similar type of feel and style. I hope you do both of these movies on your channel, because I'd really love to see what you guys all think about them. Ghost in the Machine, of course, tells the tale of a killer who gets sucked into a computer database, and he's killing everybody through that. And then he's terrorizing Karen Allen's character in the movie. She does a good job. Her and Chris Mulkey play well off each other. But it's an interesting movie with a lot of really VR heavy style of the time. And it's, of course, one of those crazy movies where everyone who works in computers in it has no idea how they actually work. It's wild for that instance. Two Evil Eyes is actually one that I was floored by. It's not by any means one of the best movies I've ever seen, but it's one that I will revisit. It's an anthology directed by George Romero and Dario Argento, who had previously collaborated on Dawn of the Dead, the original. So to see Dario Argento and George Romero, whom George Romero is one of my favorite directors of all time, tackle Edgar Allan Poe, who is one of my favorite writers of all time.
Mine too.
Blew me away. And they tell some really good, like this first one with Romero is a really cool ghost story. Very slow burn, but it's well acted. Adriana Barbeau leads that cast. Then you get to The Black Cat, the next one, starring Harvey Keitel and directed by Dario Argento, and it goes off the rails. It becomes a wild movie. I suggest everybody check these out. I think you'll have a really good time with them. We're going to keep doing this all throughout the next 2 months, so make sure to check back. And our good buddy Trevor Stoudemire from Ambassador Radio is doing our November lineup, which is Crime Drama.
Ooh.
So you're going to check back for that. So I appreciate all of these. 2 wins for me. Again, Ghost in the Machine had a lot of problems, and it wasn't like well acted, but it's fun in the way that Shocker was fun.
Okay.
Less zany though. Less zany. Maybe taken a little more seriously than Shocker was. Shocker had a lot of comedy. This does too, but it's not the same. That was like a more absurdist, like the killer's deranged comedy.
Yeah.
2 Evil Eyes will blow you away, I think. I think you'll really enjoy it because maybe not so much a slow burn, but like the practical effects, because Savini worked on it. Ooh. So you got some cool practical effects in both stories.
So Savini worked on it, and then
he's in it.
Edgar Allan Poe's stories, which I love Edgar Allan Poe. I love those shits.
There's a lot of people in the Black Cat, mostly because it had bigger cast. And the reason it had bigger cast is because of the story that they were telling. Mm-hmm. But whereas there's only like 4 cast members for the first story, which was the facts in the case of Mr. Valdemar. And that makes sense why that was a very contained story, and it still worked. That's why I like the slow burn aspect. But when you get to the next one, like John Amos is the lead detective, more and more people like show up through it. But like, yeah, Savini has a fun cameo I'm not going to give away until you watch it, but I enjoy it.
Nice.
So yeah, go check these movies out. These are my mixed movie Sturdy's movie picks for the week, and go check out our classic film review and Does It Suck next week. They'll be out Tuesday and Friday. Now let's get to film definitions with Mick. That's right. I don't know why I do the segment, but I do it and I'm enjoying it, so buckle up. I got a book. This isn't the exact book I got in college. In fact, I think this is an older version, but I don't care. It still holds up.
It was written on stone, people. That's why he doesn't have it anymore.
I broke them when I saw the golden calf. I had to throw them. Somebody's gonna get mad that I compare myself to Moses. But yeah, I picked this up at a bookstore and I remembered it when I got it. So now I'm reading off definitions. So I'm going to pick out random definitions. Let's see what we got. All right, we got a pull up. 1, the loop of film in a projector that allows the film to pass smoothly from the intermittent movement necessary to place the individual frames in front of the aperture. 2, continuous movement necessary for the film as it passes the sound head. It's actually an interesting one. When I was a projectionist, like I did it too tight once and it ripped, and I had to splice super freaking quick to get the movie back up. But yeah, you have to leave a little loop. Well, there's
like a little slack.
You got to leave a little slack when you come around the bend because you want it to be able to feed easier and go through. That was one of the greatest jobs. I love being a projectionist. That was fun. And the second definition for pull up is to rearrange a shot so that unnecessary environment is removed and the subject fits more tightly in the frame. So yeah, like so basically if I have Sturdy in my shot, right, and he's going, but in the background, maybe I have an ice cream truck with logos and then that's just throwing out things. But like, there's something that I don't want in there. Maybe it's a couple, maybe it's a person I don't want to get film rights for. You're going to try and frame it, like essentially pull up, get them out of there and frame it so that way you can cut loose any of that stuff you don't want. Sometimes it's just to make it tighter and make the shot more interesting.
So would that almost be like cropping it? I mean, for better lack of term, or
you're basically cropping it out without the cropping portion because you're not making any small. You're not zooming into you're just rearranging a bit. You can, but often zooming in, and I'm talking about it mostly from a film camera standpoint. But like this does work on digital if clarity is important to you, which I think it is. It's one of those things where like you don't want to start zooming because now then the camera crew has to figure out the depth of field again and start reworking things. But if you can like sort of adjust or find a different framing or go closer rather than stuff like that, you can play with it a bit. That's okay. What I mean. But yeah, those are our film definitions of the week. Let me know what you guys think. Sound off. Do you have another example of pull up? I would love to hear it from the camera angle perspective. But if you have a cool story about being a projectionist, I'd love to hear that as well. Man, it's the end of the night and it's always a fun time.
Yes.
Sturdy, before we get going, do you have anything you want to add, my friend?
No, just come check us out tomorrow night on Popcorn and Pints, where we'll be reviewing Class and 16 Candles from the Brat Pack wheel. And I've been having a lot of fun over on Horror Simps 30 with these foreign films. So it's third Halloween. We're sticking with the foreign films. And I put Trevor on a little task I asked him to find me 4 foreign folk horror films or just something like of their culture. And he's also going to be doing November for me, which is 4 black and white horror films.
Nice.
It's fun to pick his brain. And I'm just like, I just want to see what he pulls out for us this time.
But, yeah, he's definitely good.
Other than that, I'm just chilling. I'm ready to play some Phasmophobia, have a good night, have a good time, a great weekend, nice 3-day weekend. But my message to the world is be kind to each other.
Can't steal my message. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's a great message. Be kind. Nothing wrong with that. I want to say thank you, Sturdy.
You know what? I want to say another thing.
Uh-huh.
Learn another culture, food, background. Start with food and just learn a little bit more. Learn a little bit more. Movies.
Yeah, I agree with
that. I think once a week, try to learn a different culture, even if it's just like as simple as ordering food and watching a film of that culture, but a legit film of that culture. If you know,
I will add something to you, and one of the things I appreciate that you're doing on Horror Simps This Podcast, which guys go follow Star Division channel for sure. It's linked down below. With me, like with you, the reason I fell in love with like your show as a fan, and we talked about this, like that's how Sturdy and I met. Like I was doing this, but like I was a fan of his show, and the reason being is I love horror movies and I love listening to horror podcasts. And there's a lot of good ones out there. Don't get me wrong. But for the most part, I'm seeing the same movies talked about constantly. Mm-hmm. I'm not learning anything new. And when I watch these shows or I listen to them, I want to learn new things. That's what we try to bring here is like, I don't want you to watch this and be like, well, I've heard everybody talk about this the same way. Mm-hmm. I want you to come on here and be like, all right, this is something different. Maybe it's boring to you. I don't know, but we definitely try to keep it interesting. But, it's just one of those things that I want to do something different, something that like you can go watch those and then come here, see something different. And you're going to get that with Star Division and the Horror Sturdy podcast. Right now they're doing Backpacking with Sturdy, which is their second year in a row doing this.
I think so.
Second or third year. But what I love
about it may be second titled, but I've been, as far as the foreign films, it's been
done it a lot
around to where it's just like I have it locked into July and August. I feel like it's important.
Yeah, but I want to add to it, like when you do that, and when it was something for you guys to understand when he says learn about a different culture is that's what he does. He picks a movie from a different country. And then he's been learning about the culture as he goes through it. And it's been an interesting take to kind of listen and talk about.
Which, honestly, a simple way that I'll do it now is like, so I'll have it to where if you guys pay attention to my description, it'll be like their favorite, favorite foods from that culture, favorite food from that food, drink, and like horror movie genre from that region. It'll give examples. Because I'm like, why not? It's a horror channel, so why not throw that information in there as well? People are interested in it. I didn't do it this year because money was a little tighter. Last year, what I was doing though, like when I was watching a movie from a different culture, the wife and I would order foods from restaurants around our area from those cultures, like and enjoy the food as we're watching these films. And
before that, when you did it, you did the snacks where you would get a surprise snack box from a different country.
Oh no, that was more recent. That was more recent. And you know what's funny about the snack box thing is I was doing that. I was recording the videos, didn't put anything out. I was just enjoying the snacks too damn much. And then the snack box got too damn expensive. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to do that. So I'm not even going to put that content out there because I'm done already. It's expensive.
We need to get you a sponsor as a sponsor.
Yes, but no, like with movies though, I just think people need to explore more. Don't be afraid to explore more. Because there's nothing wrong with turning on a movie that sucks. It's just a movie that sucks. That's the worst thing about watching a bad movie.
But you can also find something that's a gem that you've never knew you'd find before.
No, there's that too. But the reason I'm saying this though is because it's like people have been on plenty of bad dates, and there's a lot worse than like the worst thing about a bad date can be you can be gone from it. I'll just say it like that. Yeah. The worst thing about a bad movie is you just had a bad time.
That's not true. Time? I highly disagree with you. I've seen some bad fucking movies that have left me furious and ruined my day.
Yes, but again, you get what I'm saying, though. Like,
I would watch something.
It wasn't life threatening. It pissed
no.
me off.
You can walk away from it, and actually, it makes you feel something, even the ones you hate. But
yeah, it does. And I mean, shit. There's the running joke on my show with the Blood Lake thing with the negative rating and all that. But at the same time, until a movie beats that, that's how the rating's gonna stay. For one, and two, it's like it's just the range, man. I show my damn range. I'm gonna watch something as bad as that, hopefully worse one day. But at the same time, I'm still also gonna watch those amazing films and everything in between. It would be boring to just watch 9s and 10s all the time. Like, yes, it's great as far as like a movie watch. You're getting these great movies, but it's like, okay, I need to see some bullshit, man. This is ridiculous.
That I don't necessarily agree.
This is for me. For me. The type of
I like bad movies. Don't get me wrong. I do.
That's what I mean. But you see the stuff that I watch.
But I can't go into a movie that's like when we watch Shark and Saw Women's Prison. Yes, I went into that like I know what this is when I'm going in with maybe not the hope because I don't want to like put that on there, but I'm going in with the idea that this is meant to be a bad movie. I might come out with a good feeling about it.
Yeah.
I didn't. I'll tell you right now, it's a bad movie. But I did know somebody that was in it. So and I've worked with him before. So that was kind of cool. So like I did walk away with in the bad stuff. I will never say I'm mad that I watched. Like Serbian film for a while I did until my perspective changed on foreign film.
That's fair.
But there are some bad ones. That's for sure.
A lot of bad films, but there's a lot of bad films that I love. There's a lot of bad films that I love, and that's why I say it's boring. That's why I'm saying that for me, it's boring just watching just all the best stuff. Because again, you don't find the hidden gems if you're watching all the best stuff. Because you don't find the hidden gems.
I don't want to hear. You won't even watch a Nick Cage movie unless you're forced to.
I hate Nick Cage. That's different.
It doesn't matter. It's still if you've got to hold it to the same. It's movie.
Listen, man. I'm a man of morals. And my morals, I don't do stuff that upsets me unless I have to for the podcast.
It's not a moral.
Listen, it's one of mine. It's a little bit of both. I'm a man of principle too. I don't do stuff. You know?
Did you see that Nick Cage is? I think I said it in a group chat. Nick Cage is going to be playing Joseph in a movie called The Carpenter's Son, which is a horror movie about Jesus.
Yeah. I wish he would just retire.
No, why? He's doing good. He's going to be in True Detective season 5.
I don't even know what that is, so that's fine. Stay out of movies.
Especially
horror.
Well, I think this episode's coming to an end because
go buy another castle.
Leave that man alone. I swear to God, I hope you two meet one day. I hope you meet. And I'm there because I'm going to be like, he hates you. And I want to watch him try and convince you that he's a good guy that you can really like. And I want it to happen. And I want you to be convinced. And then maybe we get a sturdy and Nick Cage best friendship.
No. What if we end up fighting like Peter and the chicken? And it's all because you went over to him and said, he hates you.
Then you get your licks in.
Cracking out of nowhere.
What do you think if he... Okay.
I'm not violent, though.
That's fair. Well, if somebody's punching you in the face, you are.
Well, if I'm going to defend myself, and I'd hope if, like, say if he's getting the better of me, if he just sucker punches me and I'm like a little wobbly, I hope you don't just stand there like, oh man, this is my guy, my favorite actor. I don't know what to do. Like, if you're 6'8" ass ain't clotheslining him, we're gonna have problems when I get my balance.
Nick Cage is awesome. I think he's fun, and I think he would make a great addition to Popcorn and Pints. We should invite him to be on.
Absolutely not.
Why? What? Are you kidding me? All right. Are you kidding me? If let's say in a hypothetical world, Nick Cage is watching Popcorn and Pints one Saturday, and he's like, I want to be on this show. I want to be a panelist on a show and watch these movies, and I want to talk about them with you. Would say no? I feel like that would be a vote, first of all.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he would probably shoot an email to the Popcorn and Pints email, and no one checks the shit, so...
Well, send it, Nick, if you're watching, send it to snobs@gmail. I will find it. I will make sure you come on, and I'll send you the link without telling him.
I mean, shit. Look. As soon as I see him come on, boop, I'm off. I'm done.
I will drive to your place, your residence, and I'm not going to tell anybody where that is. Mm-hmm. I'm going to drive to your residence, and I'm going to make sure you're on. I'm going to bring my laptop. I'm going to sit next to you. I'm going to be like, we're here. We're doing it. I don't care where you go. I'm following you all around during this episode. And we're hanging out in Nick Cage and talking about the Class and 16 Candles.
Yeah, I could.
And then I'd be like, welcome to... Oh, we'd have to tell him to watch the English... Do you think... What's the over-under? Do you think he'd watch the English Patient to be on it?
He's probably seen
it, but I've seen it and I had to watch it again. I didn't want to.
He'd probably want to act it out or something. That could
have been probably talk about how good it is.
That make me want to punch him in the face even more. We don't do that.
The English Patient was fun. All right, we'll make him watch Tree of Life too. You have to pull double duty because you're a celebrity. So Nick Cage, that's your formal invitation from Stir Sturdy.
Nope.
All right.
A 30 will be there, but it wouldn't be this one.
Oh my God. I would make him pick a wheel of only Nick Cage movies that you should watch.
I'd have to retire from Popcorn and Pints at that time.
You guys all say that once you're met with any type of adversity, you guys want to quit.
Yep. See, There's this simple shit though, but if you're having, like, if he's like, listen, I want to be a co-host on here, and they're like, yeah, cool. I'm like, listen, it's right, I'm out.
All right. You wouldn't give it a grace period though?
Mm-mm.
You wouldn't give it a grace period? Really?
Nah.
Why? You would leave your friends on this run.
Listen, they're all capable of running it. I would say that. They know my feelings of Nicolas Cage. So as my friends forcing this upon me would be wrong.
What if Cage agreed to do a 5 episodes, 1 month and a week?
So I'll be back on the 6th episode.
You wouldn't be on. It's Nick Cage, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wouldn't want to be on there.
But that would be like a giant movie star being on our show.
Listen, man.
You can come on the Scene Snobs anytime. You can be a Scene Snob.
I can sit back for a little bit and, kick my feet up, watch the show. Or actually, I probably wouldn't even watch it.
Oh, you're a harmful person. But I want to say thank you for being on the show. I'm ending this now because you're going to make me cry. I want to say thank you to all you watching and listening. Thank you to my wonderful co-host and guest in this. And Paul will be back soon. But I needed somebody to help me. And I'll tell you what, Sir Sturdy, you stepped up and you really helped. So I will not be inviting Nick Cage onto the show this week. But maybe in the future, we'll see. You'll see to get the ratings up a little bit. But if I have to keep hearing about Sound of Music, and if I have to keep hearing about fucking James's obsession with hating Speed, you're going to deal with Nicolas Cage at some point.
Listen, if that's the case, you got to go at those guys' hates too, not just mine. Mine's
who do they hate?
See, nobody has the same hate as I do. Chris almost does with Tom Green, and I forgot who else he mentioned it recently.
Oh, Vin Diesel, but he mentioned somebody else very recently. There was somebody we've seen in the movie. I feel like when Chris finds somebody he thinks is insufferable, it automatically goes on. He's like Steve Buscemi from like Billy Madison when he would go and cross off the list. He has a list of people he wants to take out, and then he put the lipstick on. That's Chris. He's sitting at home with a list of people, of actors he can't stand.
He doesn't like Tom Cruise, but again, it's not like a rage thing.
Yeah, I would Tom Cruise. I would same with Nick Cage. Like those are two guys you can tell are cinephile and understand filmmaking to the best of their ability, like to some of the best understanding. And I'm talking just actors. There's tons of directors. I want to talk to a lot of stuntmen too, but
that would be fun.
Yeah, there would be. But like, I feel like talking to those two, and I'm saying there's others, but like Tom Cruise, I bet I could have an epic level conversation and learn an unending amount about, as long as he doesn't bring up Scientology. I don't care. Do what you could do. But just talking about the movies, like we legit are just sitting there talking about movies for hours, I feel like we could have a great conversation. I would love to talk to Steven Spielberg. I think, and that's the thing, like I'm not on their level in any way, shape, or form, but I think they love movies in a way that I love movies, just based on everything I've seen and heard and them, Martin Scorsese, they were all film fans.
Yeah.
Like I chickened out like having a conversation with George Lucas, but like I wish I did, because I can imagine just talking about movies with that man.
Oh, I wish I was there.
Oh, it would have been so cool.
You already know how I am. I just went over to started talking. Listen, man, he's shy over there, but he's a huge fan of yours. And I know as soon as he starts talking, if you two start talking, he ain't gonna shut the fuck up.
That's why I would bring you, because I know you'd walk up to any celebrity and just be like, listen, this guy knows his movies. If you have a conversation with him, like I know you do, you'll have a good conversation.
Yeah, he's just a little shy right now.
That happened with Tom Savini at Carolina Film Fest, Fear Fest. I don't think you were there that year. He was there. We saw him. No. He was having a cigarette, or somebody was having a cigarette. He might have just been standing there with him. And I was a little inebriated, and somebody had said to me, "Oh, look, it's Tom Savini." I was like, "You want me to go over there and bother him?" Like, see, that's where I don't have a problem. And it's not even the inebriated part. If I was stone cold sober, I would have been like, I'm gonna go bother him. Because I don't mind trolling people, that's the thing. But if I had, like, otherwise I get pretty out there. But I just went up and I was like, what's widely considered the first horror movie? And then he started answering and I was like, I don't think that's right. But in a nice way, like he was laughing the whole time, because I was like, I would say it's this and blah blah blah. And we were having like a very fun little back and forth. Nothing long. It wasn't hours. It was like maybe 5 minutes of just like a little back and forth.
That's still dope though.
And it was such a cool experience. Like I love, that's what I miss about filmmaking, like being on a film set and talking about movies with people. Like when I watched The Fall Guy, it's not all like that, but there is a lot of like quoting, or there's a lot of discussing, like, because you're all movie fans. You're all there for the same reason, because you have this love of certain movies, not certain movies, but maybe just the idea of movies.
Yeah.
So it's going to come up in conversation. That's film school conversations are always the best. I have not seen one podcast, including my own, that tops any of the film school conversations I have.
Fair.
No one has ever talked about on its deeper level filmmaking as much as when I was. And I wish I could somehow recreate, because it wasn't just my conversation. I'm talking about walking through the halls and listening to other film students talk. I'm listening to the in-depthness of like, what do you think with the, like just really in-depth conversation. I wish I could get that back or somehow incite that type of feel. I don't know what it was. But it was like it was just always fantastic conversation. But we will save that for another time. We're going a little long. I want to say thank you to my good buddy, Sir Sturdy, who can get out of here so we can play Phasmophobia. And I want to say thank you to all of you watching, listening, supporting us over at the Scene Snobs. It means so much to me. I love doing the Scene Snobs. We're coming up on our 400th episode on October 31st. 400 episodes. That's insane. October 6th is our 6-year anniversary. We're super stoked for that. We're going to have an anniversary episode too. So check back for that. And we're going to have a really great time all the way through Snobtober. So make sure you're joining in, hanging out with us, watching these movies. Stay snobby, stay classy, and you guys got to take care of yourselves. It's important. And remember to go check out Lusterin if you're looking for shades or blinds or anything. We're so thankful for them to be a sponsor of the show and a sponsor of the channel. We truly appreciate you. Until next time, everybody, again, remember to take care of yourselves. That's important. Be kind and rewind, and I'll talk to you soon.